Sorry about the long intro. It just hit me. I had to go pee-pee. Sorry about that. And then, of course, wash my hands and put on my sanitizing lotion that smells like pineapple. Anyone jealous? I know you are. So welcome back to the chat. Welcome back to Crime Lines and Lies. Look at that. Poppy is already reminding everybody, hit that like. Don't forget the hype. Woo, this is something else. Woo, Carmelo Anthony killed, not allegedly, he killed Austin Metcalf. Here's their picture, and I'm showing this one because I want everyone to see what we're up against. Okay? Carmelo went to a tent he wasn't supposed to be in at a track meet when it was raining. This was on April 2nd, 2025. Okay? Austin, who was on the right of your screen, he's also an identical twin. He was 17 and he attends Memorial High School, or he did. He was fatally stabbed by Carmelo Anthony. He's the guy on the left. He goes to Centennial High School. He wasn't supposed to be there. Okay? He was not supposed to be there. After being told to leave the tent several times, Austin shoved him. He didn't punch him. There was no bruise. There was no split lip. He shoved him. Get out of the tent. Austin sensed something was wrong. Carmelo pulled out what some would call a switchblade and stabbed him in the chest, hitting his heart. He died on the scene. Now, there's been a lot of crowdsourcing, and I know a lot of it has been taken back by the government. However, there's a few people around the Collin County Courthouse in Texas that are making this about civil rights. Okay? Now, let's not forget that there were other Black students in the tent telling him to go. Let's not forget there were other white students telling him he had to go, and Hispanic students. They're talking about civil rights out on the sidewalk. There is nothing civilly right about this. The minute Carmelo was arrested, he said, I did it. I did it. Now, these are the things that are floating around Al Gore's internet. Prayers for Carmelo Anthony, who claimed self-defense in the passing of Austin Metcalf. His trial begins on June 1st. The trial is over. Talk about a speedy trial. Austin was killed in April of 2025. The trial started June 1st. The state has rested. The defense has rested. The jury is out. And it has been speculated that Carmelo was looking to do a mass casualty event and even wanted a gun. This has nothing to do with the color of anyone's skin. And I'm getting real tired of those damn race baiters. Has nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it. Let's take a second and tell everybody good morning, and let's get to it. It's a sad day in America when you have to bring the National effing Guard out to the Collin County Courthouse or any courthouse because of civil unrest over a jury that has been sequestered that is trying to do their job. Big problem. Big problem. Now, we have a playlist. We have done one show on it before. But you know what happens when the mob mentality, I wouldn't call them majority, has made their mind up that this white boy killed the black boy just because he's black. Okay? True story. You've got all of them out there. You've got them all out there. He took a knife with him with intentions. I was a bit concerned that they weren't streaming the trial because I thought, well, but too many parents would not give consent with good reason because their children are minors. And they don't want their children in danger. They don't want their faces just blurred out when people recognize their voices. They don't want their name called out. But he brought a knife to the high school track meet. I still think that the staff at Austin's high school bears some responsibility, even though they're not the ones that stuck the knife in his chest. They should have been making sure that the tent was secure, not two young kids that got to bickering. I have to say it as nicely as I can. Hello, Lisa Boo, duck lady. So let's get to it. Okay, you got JLR out there right now. I don't know what the hell he thinks he's going to do. Get that down.
Thinking. We'll see reactions if a verdict goes down today. We'll see who shows up. We'll see what's going on. Boots on the ground. Actually started taking a walk because the sun is not shining for the moment. We got cloud cover, which is a huge relief. It is hot out here in Texas.
It is hot in Texas. All right, so I'm going to take that down because he's doing what's called verdict watch. Okay. Lisa said, I think he was jealous of his popularity and his football skills. Yes, I think so too. So let's get to it because a lot has come out during the trial and it was a quick trial. What is today? June 9th? Oh, that's right. It's Tuesday. Look at that. And I forgot. Laura Uli. She's on the taco diet. Maybe eating tacos wasn't cheating on my diet. Maybe going on a diet was cheating on my tacos. Y'all like that? It's her favorite day.
Is talking about a case which has divided the community. Austin Metcalf was a high school athlete at a track meet, sitting under the Memorial High School tent with his twin brother and teammates. Carmelo Anthony was a student athlete from a different high school who sat under the Memorial tent and was asked to leave. That's when things escalated. Witnesses say Carmelo refused.
Carmelo was asked to leave the tent. I still want to know where the adults were, even though they didn't put the switchblade in Austin's chest. Okay? By the way, our friend True Crime Beat did a great video about this. If you're not subscribed to True Crime Beat, please do. She's one of my BFFs. Shouldn't have been there. Tell you what, back in my day, one of the coaches or the principal himself would have whipped the dog shit out of someone and then apologized to the parents later, and they wouldn't have had the nerve to complain. True story. They wouldn't have had the nerve to say anything to him. Not in today's world.
To leave and told Austin, touch me and see what happens. Austin did touch Carmelo. And what happened next ended the life of one teen and has another teen on trial for first-degree murder. Witnesses say Austin stood up and put his hand on Carmelo's shoulder and either shoved him or touched him nonviolently. Then Carmelo pulled a knife out of his bag and stabbed Austin. Austin died.
Here is the defense. The defense is when Austin shoved his shoulder, remember, shoved, not punch, didn't hit, shoved his shoulder. He said, touch me and see what happens. He shoved him, again, said, get out of our tent. He pulled out the switchblade and stabbed him in the chest, and he died. The defense is saying that this was self-defense. I would say Carmelo is the only person in American history that has pled self-defense and won that didn't take the stand. People understand self-protection, okay? People understand the right to stay alive, okay? So you would take the stand and say, no, this is how it went down.
And now Carmelo is on trial facing decades behind bars.
Good.
And the question for the jury, was this a justified killing done in self-defense? This story is tragic, but only one teen had a weapon and only one teen survived. Is this a case of self-defense? We're going to break down the facts of the case with Cody Thomas at the courthouse and break down Texas law to see if this was a justified killing.
I don't see how they can claim self-defense or the castle law. We have castle law or stand your ground law in Oklahoma, and it's very clear. It's very cut and dry. It's as apparent as white on rice. Karma, did you see in Oklahoma City, the BLM was out there protesting? Do they not know they have the exact wrong state? The hell are they doing? Just trying to get people pissed off?
I'm Vinnie Politan. Let's investigate. There's been a lot of talk in this case about Carmelo Anthony confessing to the crime, that this is an open and shut case. But yes, Carmelo Anthony, yes, he did it. Yes, he admitted that he did it. But that's not what this case is about. This is not a confession case. The confession that everyone is pointing to is the fact that after he stabs Austin Metcalf, Carmelo Anthony says that he did it, that he stabbed him. That's not in question in front of this jury at this trial. That's not a question of fact. That's presumed for the most part here by both sides. Why? Because the defense is alleging self-defense. This isn't about somebody else did this. No, he did it. Carmelo Anthony did it. He stabbed Austin Metcalf. But the question is, did he do it in self-defense? So in order to figure all of that out, the key to this case is going to be for the jury to figure out what happened under the tent. What happened in the moments before.
I think by now, as Americans, we have learned that you never trust an NGO, a non-governmental organization that gets money from the government for whatever cause they feel like. Okay? BLM has been ripping people off for years. I think one of their leaders in Oklahoma City who, by the way, lives in one of the nicest white neighborhoods in Oklahoma, jealous, is in jail for fraud. Lisa Boo said, don't trust Carmelo's defense. Straight up lies. That whole family is shady AF. Hence why they're taking their money back, and there is a federal, which you never want. Vinny has his O face on. Thank you for bringing that up, Shannon. There is a federal investigation into the crowdsourcing.
Austin Metcalf is stabbed to death by Carmelo Anthony. That's what is significant here. The actual stabbing itself, both sides agree, because when you claim self-defense, you're saying, yeah, he did it. He did it. Okay, we get that. But he was justified in doing it. And to figure out whether or not he is justified, the jury has to understand and have a clear picture of what's going on under this tent at this track meet. The back and forth between Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf and perhaps other people underneath the tent. And the people that were there, the witnesses, they've been talking about this. They've been testifying about it. And the jury has to analyze their testimony, because we know eyewitness testimony, while sometimes it's somewhat consistent, always has variations. My goodness.
Okay, listen to me. This is where it gets hairy, because I keep bringing up BLM. I'm just going to say it that way. Part of the argument is, how can you take money from someone where money has been donated? You know, they were living in a mansion. They were leasing insane vehicles because it's the Son of Sam law. You can't benefit from your crime, even if your mama and daddy keep it in their name. They're benefiting from your crime. It's against the law in Texas.
7 people see a car accident, you're going to have 7 different versions of what happened. There'll be differences, slight differences, and sometimes larger differences, all of which the defense is going to go after. So what happened under the tent is extremely important for this jury to figure out. And for us to analyze the case, we need to understand what happened in the moments leading up to Carmelo Anthony pulling the knife out of his bag. What took place prior to that? Now, Texas law is also extremely important in this case, because you cannot provoke someone in Texas and then claim self-defense. This is important, right? Like, you can't provoke someone into a confrontation, into a fight, and then claim self-defense in Texas. And we're going to break down the law for you in this episode, because it's extremely significant. And it's exactly what the judge will instruct the jury on, and how the jury will come to a conclusion. Juries take the facts, and then they take the set of facts that they determine collectively and apply it to the law that the judge gives them. And the Texas law is very specific about provocation. And this is a huge theme for prosecutors, because if you provoke the fight, if you provoke the confrontation, you are not entitled to claim self-defense in the state of Texas. Now, here's the problem for us, not a problem for the jury, but the problem for us in trying to figure out whether or not this provocation took place, whether or not it was Carmelo Anthony provoking this confrontation underneath the tent, because there's no cameras in the courtroom.
No cameras in the courtroom because parents are scared for their children. Okay? This is a heated argument. Okay? Heated argument. And just hearing the kids that have been testifying would be enough to get them in trouble by some of these crazy ass groups. Okay? Crazy ass groups. All they want is division, diversity, and havoc. That's it. I do not blame these parents for saying, you don't need a camera to get justice. You're not putting my child on the stand, having court TV and the Dallas-Fort Worth News streaming my child for my child to walk out and potentially get killed. I actually appreciate these parents for doing that. Now, let me ask you this. The jury is deliberating. With all the heated tensions, what do you think they're going to decide?
Which to me is I mean, I could do a whole nother episode just on this issue. When you have a case like this that divides the community and there's going to be a verdict and there's going to be a reaction to that verdict, right? And people didn't get to actually see the trial, it lessens the trust in the system. So the judge in this case in keeping cameras out has done a disservice to the public that the judge serves in Texas and around the world, because it's much more difficult to trust a verdict if you don't see the evidence. And like every other part of our government, the judicial branch is working for the people. And the people here are not going to get to see it. But the good news is, folks, that we have someone in the courtroom at the courthouse. His name is Cody Thomas. And joining us now from the courthouse, Cody Thomas. Cody, great to see you. Wow, what a case. So you are our eyes and ears inside the courtroom. Obviously, cameras have been prohibited, microphones prohibited. Give us an idea of where we're in the defense case, right? Where the defense is going.
Yeah, so this is day 2 of the defense's case, Vinny. We know we had a Saturday session a few days ago. I was in there. The defense got in 3 witnesses after the state rested. The state rested after only 21 witnesses being called. And today, so far, we're out of the lunch break now, but there were 3 witnesses called this morning. 1 student, an officer who was at the scene, and then another student. And the first student who was on the stand was, giving his account of what went down, saying that the rain was coming down. They went into a dugout. Him, Carmelo, and about 2 or 3 other people went into a baseball dugout behind the stadium, to which a coach told them they couldn't be there. So they came back out. This one student who was testifying, a minor, so I can't name him, but he testified about warming up on the field along with his 4x100 meter team. And then Carmelo going back in the bleachers. He didn't see Carmelo again for a few minutes until he looked up in the stands and saw what he described as a crowd under the memorial tent with Carmelo there. He noticed his teammates. He says he recounts people standing up. He says that he was walking towards the bleachers because he heard a commotion. He looked away for a second, and then he saw, a bunch of kids sporadically, running from under the tent. And then he saw Carmelo running off. And of course, he's describing the moments that the stabbing happened. But under cross-examination, Benny, when the prosecutor came up, the prosecutor brought the video back up, the surveillance video of the situation. And he brought up where the kid would be warming up on the field. So you see him, and then you see where the stabbing was going down. And the prosecution challenged it because the kid's account says that he was walking towards the bleachers because he heard some things happening. He paused it. He's like, boom. The prosecutor literally says, boom, in the middle of the courtroom. He's like, this is where the stabbing happened, and you're still standing right here. Okay, so then that happens, and the kid's, just going through the motions again. And then the prosecutor was like, we've spoken before. And the kid's like, yes, sir. He's like, when I showed you this video when we spoke, you admitted to me that you were wrong about some of your accounts. And the kid agreed that he was wrong, and his eyes were open after the meeting that he had with the prosecutors before this trial. So it was a very challenging moment there with that first witness, Vinny.
Let me ask you, Cody, a big picture question here.
All right, besides the obvious, which is Austin Metcalf died on the scene. And the obvious that Carmelo flat out said he did it. Think about all the kids, and yes, they're kids, that witnessed this. They heard everything go down. They heard it all go down. And one after another since June 1st has been taking the stand and giving eyewitness testimony to the jury. Let's see who is knocking at the door. Who's knocking at the door? Well, if it's not our friend True Crime Beat, how's it hanging, girl?
I'm good. I could pop in for a few minutes while I'm trying to get some work done. So how are you this morning?
Oh, good, honey buns. So how do you think the jury is going to decide?
I think it's going to be a quick one. I think it's the state proved their case, I think. I did say in the comments, I don't know if anybody saw it, the defense doesn't have to prove anything, but I do think with self-defense that if he truly is trying to claim that, which is what his defense is, he should have taken the stand and explained it. So I just think that was an excuse. If you really feared for your life and all that, which I don't think he did, he would have taken the stand and explained it, some things. So
in a heartbeat, and if it was self-defense, no DA in Texas would even have prosecuted it.
Yep. So
There's
I think it's gonna be quick.
in the same area that killed his daughter's rapist.
Yep.
And they did nothing. They didn't even, they filed the police report and that was it. He said he did it. He said, it's me. I did it. So let's see what's going on outside the courthouse.
People went through with even the adults on both sides. It's not good. It's trauma. And we got to together win by breaking generational curses and understanding and getting the education when it comes to mental health and trauma. Some people have childhood trauma. Some people have adult trauma, and they go through life not getting self-care. Because you fly a lot. If you get on the airplane, the air pilot tells you to put on a mask. Put on a mask. Why? Because when the oxygen level drops, you can't help somebody else if you don't have oxygen. That's how life is. We got to get self-care. We got to quit thinking that we perfect. We got to quit thinking that we got wings on our back to open up heaven gates. We got to start looking at ourselves and realizing that we ourselves got a problem, because at the end of the day, it's something wrong with everybody. This country breeds racism and division, and we're living under constitutional laws that will never be equal until it's changing. The Constitution was written by British and slave masters who was never thinking about a free black man or an entrepreneur, a billionaire, a doctor, a lawyer, a news reporter, and all that. Together we win, and I'm going to end it with, what do we want? Justice.
All right.
Boy.
So what is justice going to be?
I do fear what's going to happen in that area, because they're making it out to be black and white. And, we've discussed it a number of times, Brooks, how we're like, white, and we can't discuss it. I'm like, listen, everyone's entitled to an opinion, and they can have their opinion. That's fine. But as long as they don't, do violence. I guess they could be out there protesting and all they want, but but that's not what this case is about. These kids, they were at a track meet, and I think Carmelo just wanted to initiate a fight with somebody. For some reason, he had a chip on his shoulder. I don't think it was necessarily Austin. I think it was just he was looking for somebody to bother him, and that's what happened. He was having a mood, and unfortunately, it resulted in a murder. Yeah.
Found it, and I thought it was very interesting that they did offer him manslaughter, because they don't believe that he intentionally, like he really was trying to kill him.
Yeah, I don't think he was either. He did ask the coach, is he going to be okay? I don't think that he wanted to kill him. I think he just wanted to fight. And obviously, Austin didn't want to fight. He's just like, dude, just get out of our tent and move along. And
I think it got a little more heated than that.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure that there was a lot of pushing and shoving. Like we said, it's fine if they want to push and shove and, and whatever. They wouldn't have really hurt each other. As soon as you bring a knife, that's the end of it. You bring a weapon. But it's a sad day.
And obviously this is difficult for children testifying in a murder trial, right? That's tough. Yeah. We know eyewitness accounts. You have 7 people, you get 7 different versions. We get it. But here you have different high schools. Is the testimony breaking down in any way where the kids from Memorial are seeing one thing and kids from Centennial are seeing something different, Centennial Carmelo School versus Austin School. Is that playing out inside the courtroom, that we're getting two different versions of what's happening here?
It actually is not, Vinny. And the way I've described it is that the story is like a tree. It's the same trunk, but different branches. The foundations of the story are the same, but there's some minor details that may have shifted. As, for example, some of the kids say that the push was one arm. Some say it was two arms. Some say it looked like maybe a slight punch. Some say the push wasn't aggressive. Some say both of the kids were getting aggressive. But the situation, there's commonalities between them all. And the main one being that Carmelo eventually put his hand in that book bag saying, touch me and see what happens. 100% of the students, not only the prosecution's witnesses, the defense's witnesses as well, the student witnesses have said this same thing, which leads me, the defense, I would imagine they would have called student witnesses that were testifying in favor of Carmelo, but it seems that, the facts are the facts here, and they're walking down this story and not the big pictures of the story haven't changed, only minor details in it. Again, like the pushing, whether it was one hand, two hands, or whatever, what have you, whether they were sitting or standing, but the big picture parts about the hand in the book bag, the touch me and see what happens, the phrasing, they all said they weren't really scared about something happening because they thought it was just two boys at a competition mouthing off at each other, being from different schools. They all said that not only did Austin ask him to leave, that multiple people under, the Memorial tent asked him to leave, because the way they describe this tent culture, they've had coaches on the stand from all these different schools talking about how each tent is, like the locker room, and you wouldn't hang out in an opposing team's locker room. So again, same trunk of the tree, just some slightly different branches coming off of it.
And the branches aren't breaking down by school to school. It's just witness to witness, like in any other
Right.
case that we would have, where, 5 people see a.
Yep.
Okay, True Crime Beat, let me ask you a question. You're in the hot seat. Do you think it shows intent that he walked up, he was told to leave several times, he knows the school rules, it's a track meet, so it's like going into a football locker room. The fact that he had his hand in his bag the whole time, do you think that shows intent that he was there to do something? And I don't mean murder.
Yeah, I think that there is intent there. I don't think the state is going after that necessarily. But yeah, I mean, obviously he brought a knife with him, and I think that does count premeditation of some sort. So
I think it did.
I think it did. I mean, I think he planned on using it that day. I mean, I don't know how, more than just, but yeah, I mean, the only thing I will agree, and I think Cody describes it exactly like we were talking about this morning on the phone. It's like the details of the little tiny things are a little bit different, but they all say the same thing, that he was asked to leave the tent and he didn't want to leave. And the push and shove, when people were like, oh, it was nothing, he didn't really touch him. Like, yeah, nobody believes that it was just, he barely touched him. I'm sure he pushed him pretty hard. I mean, these are boys. But, at the same time, the bottom line is the defense doesn't seem to have anybody to tell them anything but the same basic story. That what happened is Carmelo pulled a knife and stabbed him in the chest. Period. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, game over.
I love what Boylan family said. If my eyes were shut and I heard the story, I'd still come to the same conclusion.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it doesn't. It's intent, and I think that they just, I think the state just wants, obviously, him to pay for it, and he's been out this whole time, so he's going to find himself behind bars by the end of the week. I mean, he's
He
done.
will.
He's
And
done.
And I think the miscarriage of justice was not keeping him locked up awaiting trial.
Oh yeah, and he's not the only one. We don't cross cases, but there's another big case that we talked about that he's also out right now. So this seems to be happening more, but these kids, they're letting these teenagers be out before their trial, and when they're charges with like murder and such, and I don't get it. I don't. So I'm
No.
like, well, I mean,
I'm
Yeah.
saying if you want to play big boy games, you get a big boy prize, and that means jail.
yep.
That means jail. And I don't think he understands what's going to happen when the gavel comes down and the jury says guilty of the big M and he gets life in prison. You see, and he's a good looking kid. All right. He's a good looking kid.
And he could sit here and do all these appeals because we know they're going to appeal They're going to appeal on the fact that the jury has no black people on it. We know that's coming. We know he's probably going to say his ineffective counsel because he's probably going to complain about his attorney, which he seems to love up to this point. I mean, how many other things can we count that he's going to try to go for? I mean, he's going to use them all, and that's fine. I mean, but it's not going to change. That I think they're all going to be denied. Every single one of them.
All the above. All the above. They'll throw the kitchen sink at this. I have a sneaking suspicion that the jury is going to give him life.
Yeah, even if he gets like 25 to life, I mean, that's pretty much a huge chunk. I mean, he'd have to behave himself to get out. I mean, look what they gave Mackenzie. They gave her 15 to life twice, and the possibility if they don't behave themselves, they don't think they're going anywhere. So even if they gave him, say, 15 years, he's probably not going to get out in 15 years. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I think that they're doing some of these. Oh, you can have a chance at parole, but they're not going to have a chance at parole because they're just going to prove to everybody that they can't behave. They can't.
And if I see one more of these things saying pray for Carmelo Anthony, who claimed self-defense. Okay, hold on. Why don't you pray for Austin Metcalf's family? They didn't become millionaires from him getting killed.
And then remember how much shit they gave Austin's father for showing up at their presser, and he just was standing there. He wasn't causing a ruckus, and he was just standing there. And they were like, he has to leave. I remember that whole fiasco, and he just was like, I just want to hear what they have to say. And they had him escorted out. And you know what? He pushed for a little bit. He wanted to stand there, but he left peacefully. So
he left peacefully, and he also wanted to meet Carmelo's parents because he's lost his son, and he felt like they've lost their son one way or another, even though he's alive. And he wanted to give them, not condolences, what little bit of support he could muster up.
Yeah.
Car accident, and there's going to be slightly different versions, maybe different colors of the car. I've seen that happen inside a courtroom. Okay, so the tent seems to be a big issue here. We keep talking about what's happening under the tent, and that brings us to another big question. Why is he there to begin with? Does the defense have a different explanation, or what is the defense explanation as to why Carmelo Anthony would be under the tent of a different high school? Like you said, like being in another high school's locker room. You wouldn't do that in a gym. I never did track. I think you're a track guy. I think you have some track experience.
I did in high school, yeah.
Yeah, so explain what the defense and or their witnesses are saying about that as an explanation, because to me it doesn't make sense, but I'm trying to figure out why he would be there to begin with.
Right, so there's two narratives that the defense is putting on as far as why he was under the tent. One, they're talking about, this big rain, and a lot of the students have talked about this rain coming down. They said, it's Texas weather out here. It'll come down heavy, then it'll stop and get just a little nasty and yucky and be a little misty, and then it can come right back, similar to Florida. I know you're very familiar with Florida rain down there too. But they talked about, this, he wouldn't want to be standing out there soaked. And oddly enough, Centennial was the only team out there with no tent that day. That's a big thing that they're harping on. And so when this rain started coming down, they're saying Carmelo was in the bleachers just looking for somewhere to get out of the rain. And then compounding upon that, we heard about this kid named Eddie. Eddie is an adult now, so we can identify him. They talked about this kid named Eddie, who was childhood friends with with Carmelo's ex-girlfriend at the time. And Eddie was under the Memorial tent. He went to Memorial High School, and over the weekend on Saturday, he actually testified. Now, we've heard this Eddie character in opening statements. We've heard that from several of the student witnesses that Carmelo came up, he kind of gave Eddie a handshake, as if they were, really close friends. But then Eddie got up on the stand on Saturday and all but said, like, yeah, we were cool. I knew him. He knew the girl or was dating the girl I grew up with, but I wouldn't say we were really good friends, which was shocking to me because we've heard that name so many times. And then for him to say that, but then the defense challenged back because Eddie was like, yeah, I know him, but we don't know each other that well. But then the defense came back with several pictures, picture after picture, 7 or 8 or 9 pictures of Carmelo and Eddie in the same photo at Eddie's house for birthday parties. And there was group photos and there was photos of just them So I thought that was kind of a win for the defense, showing, all right, saying you didn't know him, but here you are with 8 or 9 pictures together. So the narrative is that he was trying to get out of the.
I don't think it's much because kids take pictures all the time.
Oh,
I honestly was not overly impressed by that. I mean, you could consider it maybe a minutial little, tiny plus for them, but in the grand scheme of things, no. Because kids go out to stuff, they take pictures with each other. He might have sort of got to know him, and I'm like, nah. So what? He's in a few pictures. I mean, what's the big deal? I mean, it's not like he's his best friend. And there's not like tons of pictures of the two of them. It's
pictures and ones at his house for a birthday party where he invited a bunch of kids from school to his birthday party.
Yeah, I'm not impressed by that at all. I mean, I'm like, well, if it's one thing if he's in a bunch of pictures with just Carmelo, that's a different story. But he's in pictures with a bunch of other people or a group of people. I'm like, nah, that doesn't impress me. And I'm sure there's people on the jury who thought the same thing. I'm like, nah.
Yeah, that's a moot point. That is not even an argument. How well does Eddie know Carmelo? And I guess he's dating Carmelo's girlfriend right now. The tensions are really high in that courtroom and outside of the courthouse because of the racial factor. And justice is blind, they say. Okay, I don't think it always is. But the first situation is, what is Carmelo? Is he a cube of sugar? Is he a chicken? Is he going to melt? Or does he not know how to come out of the rain? He had his own tent and he was not even supposed to be at school that day.
Well, he said that they didn't have a tent, but I'm like, so we're supposed to feel, the rest of them said they didn't know that Centennial didn't have a tent until after the fact. I'm like, so why didn't his school have a tent? And so why didn't he go under some other school's tent? Why did he pick the home school's tent? Because that was their home turf.
He was skipping school. Why don't go stand under Eddie's umbrella?
Go somewhere else. I mean, the fact that he just, it's every excuse he's trying to throw out there. I was going to get wet. Blah blah blah. I knew this kid. Well, the kid even said he kind of shook his hand, and because that's what you see kids do all the time. Hey man, how you doing? And that doesn't mean he was wanting to talk to him. He even said he's like, I said hey to him, and that was kind of it. It's like, that's the end of it. He didn't ask him to come, hey, come hang out with me. I mean, that's not what was going on. Not at all.
By the way, did you recognize the thumbnail? I stole it from you.
I know. It's okay. By the way, I want to say this Cody guy, this reporter, he's done excellent coverage on this because I've been following all his stuff. He has been doing a great job. So I think we're relying on them because we have nothing else but the reporters inside the courtroom. And I think that they're the ones that are in there. They're doing great.
Well, I'm trying to put a poll up, but it's not letting me. So I'm just going to ask all of you. I don't know where my poll button is. If you were on the jury, would you go guilty or not guilty? There's no such thing as innocent. Guilty or not guilty of a crime.
Rain, he knew Eddie. Eddie says they didn't really know each other, but the defense came and proved a little otherwise under their cross-examination on Saturday.
And this is an important fact in all of this, in trying to sort through the facts of what happened under the tent. It all begins with, well, why was he there to begin with? So you've got Rain. But it seems other teammates were warming up. He's not warming up. He's not competing in the track meet, is my understanding, right? He's there sort of helping, but he was hurt.
So his coach testified also on Saturday. That was the first defense's witness. We've heard the narrative that he wasn't competing. We've heard things about he was suspended from school. Nothing about the suspension has come up in this trial so far. But today, we found out through testimony that Carmelo was actually an alternate for the 4x100 meter race. And this kid that just testified said that he was actually on schedule to do one of the jumps, whether it was triple jump or long jump, he couldn't remember, but he actually was competing that day, which was, another crucial fact because we've heard a lot of things about he wasn't supposed to be there. Well, yeah, he was on the team. He was supposed to be there. It's just unfortunate that this sad, act had to happen here, but he was supposed to be there that day.
So he wasn't supposed to.
Okay. Well, there's been a lot of.
Or he skipped school. So what the hell happened that entire day? Well, first of all, if you were out of school, if you're suspended, you're okay with going to a sporting event? Because I don't think that that's normally normal. And secondly, if he skipped school, so he's just going to show up to the track event now after he decided to skip school. So that's why another reason I wanted him to take the stand, which I knew he wasn't. But what happened this entire day to make him so? He was riled up about something. I think. What was making him? Because he put that knife in that backpack and he went to the track and he had his hand in there. So what was going on in Carmelo's
He
day?
already had his hand in the backpack when he approached the tent.
So
He
what was going on that day that pissed him off so much that he wanted to initiate a fight or an argument with somebody? Because obviously that's exactly what was going on. You know, he wanted to fight.
And he probably, as we heard from testimony from his school, he said, I'm going to go look for trouble.
Well, there you go.
And this whole, it was raining on me and someone wouldn't let me come in the tent, so I killed him, it ain't going to work.
It's crap.
Rumors, information, misinformation, disinformation. And that's why we have trials, to get the facts out inside the courtroom. And Cody Thomas is bringing it to us because, again, no cameras, but we've got Cody Thomas. So let's talk about underneath the tent now. So he's there either to dodge the rain, to see his friend Eddie, or perhaps to start some trouble, right? Because there's that narrative from the other side. So what have we heard? You said we've heard these different branches. What is the tone of what is happening under that tent? And what is the moment when things escalate, right? When does it go from nothing to something? And are there different versions of that?
Well, the common denominator, just to make it as simple as possible for people to understand, from 100% of these witnesses, defense witnesses and prosecution student witnesses, down the board, they say he came under the tent, wasn't malicious. They say he came under kind of calm, didn't really say much. Some say that he saw Eddie, gave him a handshake, didn't say much, but he was sitting there under the tent. So now they're asking, does anyone know this kid? Who is this kid? You know, this and that. He's just here. They start asking him who he is. Eventually, you know, some sort of verbal altercation start happening where they start asking him to leave. And it's not just Austin. It's not just Austin and his brother Hunter. There's kids that have been up there, mixed of all races, because we know the racial aspect is a big component here. But we have black kids testifying, white kids, Hispanic kids. So kids mixed of all, over 10 of them are testifying about how they even chimed in, like, hey man, come on, get out of here. You know, you shouldn't be under this tent. Just go back to wherever your tent is. And they said it all started kind of calmly. And then they said Carmelo was being stubborn and didn't want to leave. Like, you're going to have to make me leave. You know, they described it as him trying to be like a tough guy, you know, and then eventually they have, some coaches say that Austin was a thrower. He was one of the discus shot put throwers. They've all kind of echoed the sentiment that the throwers were kind of the leaders, and they were, he was a senior. So, the upperclassmen are picked to kind of take charge when the coach isn't directly around. So eventually Austin kind of takes this lead to try to be like, all right, man, like it's enough of this. It's time for you to go. Things start getting heated. They do admit that Austin was getting, heated as well, getting frustrated, and they were going back and forth as, two testosterone-fueled young teenagers. We know how that goes.
And really, that is what happened, okay? The coaches were on the field. Austin, you're the senior. You're our best track star. Watch the tent while we're on the field, okay? Carmelo tries to come into the tent. He's told to leave, not just by Austin, but by others. Why? Because they were told by their coach, don't let kids from other schools in here, okay? Don't do it. Then was told, touch me and see what happens. Austin pokes him in the shoulder, shoves him, the way they described it, shoves him in the shoulder. He already had his hand in his backpack, pulled out a switchblade, and how he did this, I'll never know, because he put it through. Feel that bone between your boobs, everyone. Feel it. Are you feeling it? Don't fill yourself up, Shannon. Just feel that bone between your boobs.
Yeah.
Okay? Can you imagine putting a knife through that?
No.
But this provocation self-defense doesn't make any sense.
I feel like there was a lot of I don't want to say rage, maybe it's too big of a word, but he had some kind of anger. He was pissed off enough that he had a lot of, power to it, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was personal to Austin. I think he just became the target. I mean, we could be wrong. It could have been, but I think it was anybody who got on his wrong side that day was gonna take it.
Looking for trouble.
Exactly.
His words, not mine. I still want to know how that Annette Conway said that hurts so bad. Well, girl, don't do a sternum rub. Just feel that bone. You know how hard it is to get through there? I mean, ask Daisy about when she was in heart surgery. When she was assisting, she said it takes a long time to cut through that bone. That's a lot of rage, and that's not self-defense.
No.
Can be on where? Between your boobs. Feel that bone. My God.
Boys in competitive sports. And then, eventually they talk about the frustrations escalating on both sides. And then Austin saying, like, I'm not going to fight you at a track meet. They're getting aggressive with each other. And then eventually, the statement that we've heard many a time, Carmelo has his hand in the bag, touch me and see what happens. Austin goes up to touch him, to push him. Again, different accounts of that, whether it was a touch, whether it was a push. And that's when the whole unfortunate circumstance occurred here.
So it's as simple as you're under this tent. You shouldn't be here. Leave. I'm not going to leave. Make me leave. And then it escalates to touch me and see what happens. So.
Oh, 2 Boston moms. They just took her child back to get wisdom teeth removed. Okay. Take a video afterwards because they give you really good stuff. One of the funniest things I've ever heard in my life is after True Crime Beat had her colonoscopy, and she called me, and I'm like, wow, let's send some get wells and some love to 2 Boston moms, baby. Okay, no sucking through a straw because he doesn't want a dry socket.
No, none of that. No, yeah.
He will be in pain, so I'm sure they'll give him something good.
Ice cream. Get him some ice cream. You can get him a smoothie, but he has to kind of eat it. No straw.
No straw.
Or she.
Use a spoon. And also don't give him anything, him or her, because I don't know if you have a boy or a girl.
No, I'm not sure with that baby. Yeah.
Nothing too warm because that will break the stitches.
They should give him a sheet. They should give her a sheet to follow, but no straw for a while.
She has us.
Yeah, okay. We're like YouTube professionals.
Look at us go. Do I need to bring Daisy up here to tell you? She's probably pulled wisdom teeth herself.
Oh dear God.
She probably does it at the local barbershop.
But the verbal confrontation being described by the witnesses seems to be initiated by Carmelo Anthony. Is there anyone that said, well, no, they were getting loud and telling him to get out before the refusal?
No, there's been no testimony as far as that. Down the board, all the prosecution's witnesses, all of those students have been saying they're calling Carmelo the instigator. They're calling him the aggressor. They do admit that Austin was, fueled up too and being too prideful, boys as they get. They even talked about how when, the statement with Carmelo with his hand in the book bag, they said Austin said back to him, like, oh, you're not going to do anything, calling his bluff. He's like, oh, you're from Frisco. We don't do that around here. And they're all sitting there not thinking that there would be an actual knife in the bag. So, all of them have said that Austin was kind of being a tough guy too. And then he went over to him, goes to push him, goes to shove him. But again, verbal altercation that led to this unfortunate event, something that, It shouldn't have been a stabbing here. We got two young kids who had their whole lives ahead of them, two 17-year-old men, and just this heightened mistake here. It happens to be the most pinnacle of mistakes that has affected both of their lives, just emotionally, and obviously it's changed their lives forever.
Absolutely. Absolute tragedy what happened under that tent. But it's up to this jury to figure out exactly what it was. So let's talk about the prosecution case and the law here. Let's start first with what the prosecutor said in his open. I think this is extremely significant. The prosecutor says, you simply cannot provoke someone. And when they touch you, you take their life. This case is about plain murder, simple and senseless. Find this man guilty of first-degree murder. And the important part of what the prosecutor said there is you simply cannot provoke someone. And what he's talking about is Texas law. Texas has a very specific law when it comes to self-defense and provocation. Let me put it up on the screen for you. The statute, Texas Penal Code, Section 9.31 B4. The use of force against another is not justified if the actor provoked the other's use or attempted use of unlawful force. Okay? You provoke what happened, you don't get to claim.
I'm going to catch Southern Mama up real quick. Southern Mama said, I haven't heard anything about this case before. Can someone catch me up? In April of 2025, there was track meet. It was raining. Competing high schools at the track meet. Let's face it, kids do rough each other up. Kids do get into arguments. Kids don't kill each other. Okay. Yep. It started raining. Before the rain, Carmelo, and this is Carmelo. Hold on. He's the one on the left. Austin was killed. He's on the right. He goes to the opposing team's tent. He was told by the kids in the tent, black, white, Hispanic, you can't be in our tent. You have to go back to your school's tent. Okay? You have to go. He says to Austin, touch me and see what happens. He shoved him in the shoulder. He already had his right hand in his backpack. He pulled out a switchblade and he stabbed him in the heart. Now it has become a racial issue in front of the Collin County Courthouse. Let's look at this real quick because I'm just not digging it. I'm sorry, I'm not. And I hate to tell old JLR, but he's not making it any better out there. He's stirring this shit up.
No, I don't think he should be there.
Best out of three.
Yep.
Ready?
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
You're
I'll
good.
let you have
That's
more.
2 or 3. All right, right.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Man, 3 in a
Trying
row.
to pay his bills. That's what he's doing now, JLR.
He got me 3 in a row. Holy smokes. You must see it. Ooh, tie.
Is that guy wearing a vest? Oh, he is.
How you doing this, man? You foreseeing everything that's going on or what?
I told
Quality streaming.
The secret. Thank you, you too.
Now, it's really sad that they had to put up all of those barriers and everything and keep people away from the courthouse. I love when they grabbed JLR's skinny ass and they pulled him off of the Collin County Courthouse steps. They have ambulances out there just in case people get into a fight. They're not encouraging it. They have the Red Cross out there. And things got real heated, man. It looked like the movie A Time to Kill. They were going nuts out there. And when I say they, I mean the entire crowd. I don't even want to see anything in the comments going, what you mean they, Bix? I mean everybody that's outside.
The whole crowd.
It's very heated.
He kicked my butt, though. He got me 3 in a row. Was that you I captured? Was that you I captured here this morning?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I got you there. You feel safe today? Everything good?
Yeah, everything is good this morning.
Everything
I
is
was
good?
just pushed.
You were pushed. What happened?
I was pushed by one of these deputy sheriffs. I'm walking around looking for him. I'm trying to find him. I want to get him on video to ask him because mental health is real. Y'all, people been traumatized. We're all out here for one purpose. I'm out here because I got my agenda. Some people believe how they believe. I believe that I want justice for Carmelita Anthony. That's why I'm here. And also to help address the issue about mental health, breaking the stigma of mental health. 1 out of 5 people suffer from mental health. And guess what? Out of that 5, I'm one of them. I was traumatized as a little bitty girl, seeing injustice about a police of the city of Grand Prairie. But guess what? Today, I'm making a difference through mental health by providing education to try to break the stigma of free certification training. Together we win. Together we win. Mental health is real, and this is trauma. And when you talk about what those young people went through, with even the adults on both sides, it's not good. It's
Okay,
trauma,
buddy.
and we got to together win by breaking generational curses and understanding and getting the education when it comes to mental health.
Okay, without rules and following rules, society cannot function. Okay, so when you're told at school, stay in your tent, stay with your team, get ready to be called, and instead you say, I'm going to go looking for trouble. Listen, nobody in this situation wins, especially Austin, because he's dead.
Right.
He's dead. Carmelo's going to go to jail. What I do worry about at this juncture is the jury. They can't be sequestered forever. They don't know what's going on out there.
Yeah.
They don't know.
All right, I gotta pop off here because I gotta make some calls. But I'm gonna be back in the chat.
Okay, see you in chat, baby.
All right,
Bye.
love you, baby.
Love you, girl. Love you, boo. And by the way, I stand by what I say. I'll die on that hill. True Crime Beat's favorite word is penal code.
And trauma. Some people have childhood trauma. Some people have adult trauma. And they go through life not getting self-care. You know, because you fly a lot. If you get on the airplane, the air pilot tells you to put on a mask. Put on a mask. Why? Because when the oxygen level drops, you can't help somebody else if you don't have oxygen. That's how life is. We got to get self-care. We got to quit thinking that we're perfect. We got to quit thinking that we got wings on our back to open up heaven gates. We got to start looking at ourselves and realizing that we ourselves got a problem, because at the end of the day, it's something wrong with everybody. This country breeds racism and division, and we're living under constitutional laws that would never be equal until it's changing. The Constitution was written by British and slave masters who was never thinking about a free black man or an entrepreneur, a billionaire, a doctor, a lawyer, a news reporter, and all that. Together.
Curtis, I have not seen you in forever. Can you grab the link? And they're deliberating right now. So we were officially on jury watch. Okay. Oh my goodness. And what are you doing, girlfriend?
Hello.
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 I can hear you. Can you hear
Can
me?
you hear me? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Oh my God.
Okay, girl.
So what do you think about this trauma and the Constitution was written by white people claim?
Well, you know, here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say that, number one, I think it's grossly unfair to put everything that's been done in the past on Austin and his family's shoulders. I could not imagine having a child that was murdered in this way and then having to go through all of those people out there acting cray-cray on top of that. but that's how I feel. Is I feel like people that are upset about racial issues on Carmelo's side are trying to put everything on Austin's shoulders, and I don't think that's right.
I don't either. When this case happened, I called you because you have a grandson about Austin's age. He's also very popular in school. He's
Mhm.
very active. Now, what would you do? Oh boy, I hate to even say that. Let's pretend like it's not your grandson.
Okay.
Okay, let's go ahead and pretend it's your grandson. And let's just say he was cut, not killed. Okay.
Right.
Would you be forgiving because the person that attacked him is a different race?
No, it's not about that. It's about the behavior.
Thank you, baby.
It's about the behavior. I don't care what race they were, either one of them. I mean, I just don't understand how this one side has made, they have deliberately made it a tense, in my opinion, a tense political issue right from the start.
And they keep talking about racism. Okay, there's no racism here because Carmelo was given a very light bail and he's been living the good life since April of 2025. His parents have a mansion.
Mm-hmm.
They are leasing very expensive cars. He's been having a lot of fun
Mm-hmm.
on that money. Okay. On that money, a lot of fun. Now let's reverse the roles. Forget black or white.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say it's two white kids.
Okay.
How many white people would be freaking furious if a white kid stabbed another white kid and then suddenly had a mansion and a Lambo?
Very much everybody. But you shouldn't be able to have any type of profit or monetary gain for doing something like this. It's really gross.
Mm-hmm. White people are racist. Some.
Right.
Black people are racist. Some.
Exactly.
People are
There's
racist.
people coming from all over the country. I mean, it's been on the internet where people have got videos of people just coming from all over the country just to, be outside the courthouse.
Yeah. They're paid protesters.
Yeah.
They're paid protesters.
Yeah.
Do you think Grimace here took the day off and asked for vacation pay? No, she's being paid to do this.
Mm-hmm.
The lady that does my nails, her name is Jenny, but she's Vietnamese. I need to learn Vietnamese so I can hear all the bad shit she's saying about me.
Right.
Especially when she pulls the wax out.
We win, and I'm gonna end it with, what do we want? Justice. But when do we want it? Now. If we don't get no justice, they don't get any peace. Say his name, Carmelo Anthony. Say his name, Carmelo Anthony. Justice. Yes, indeed.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you.
Take care.
Now, the problem is going to be when the jury comes back,
Mm-hmm.
if they come back guilty,
Mm-hmm.
Texas is a different state. They're not going to allow people to blow up cars and shit like that.
Mm-mm.
The police have a big job on their hands. Okay?
Yes, they do.
A big one. A big one. And the defense has an uphill battle trying to prove their case.
Exactly.
That's the purpose of this. Now, the language in the statute is very plain. So there's been cases and litigation and decisions made by courts in Texas. And basically they've broken down to three parts of this provocation. Now, it's up to prosecutors. They have the burden of proof. You want to disprove self-defense, which is what they need to do here. You need to disprove self-defense. They can do that by proving provocation by Carmelo Anthony. Here's what they would need to show: that the act or words of Carmelo Anthony provoked the attack. The act or words were for the purpose of a pretext for doing harm. That the act or words can be reasonably calculated to provoke the attack. So what are we talking about here? That what Carmelo Anthony is saying and doing under that tent is to provoke Austin Metcalf to attack him. Okay, that's what prosecutors need to prove. That the purpose of Carmelo Anthony provoking him to attack him is so that he can then attack and do harm on Austin Metcalf, which would be the knife, the stabbing.
There we go. The provocation was him having his hand already in the backpack saying, push me and see what happens. I don't think for a minute that Carmelo thought that he would get through that bone and kill him. I just don't. I don't
No.
believe that. Okay.
No.
Too bad Mom says, and this is what a lot of people don't know, all modern humans originated in Africa. Tell that to Pat Kay that got me that ancestry kit and I spit in the tube. I am 100% white as Wonder Bread. Both sides. Okay? Yeah. I was looking for some ethnicity and my dream was ruined. Ruined. True
And don't you think that the fact that, you know, he went in the tent, which is, I mean, Austin was asked by somebody else, I think in charge of the team, that he was going to be busy doing something else. So he wanted Anthony to keep an eye on the tent, make sure nobody came in there, people have their valuables in there, so on and so forth. So you know that guy feels horrible. But I think that, you know, when he had his hand already in the bag, which everybody has said that, and then he said, touch me and see what happens.
Mhm.
He wouldn't have said that unless he had that knife and knew he had that knife and had his hand in the bag. And that's premeditation from what I understand. I mean, premeditation, I don't know. Premeditation doesn't have to be, well, maybe it's not, because like you said, you know, when we think about premeditation, people think you have to be planning and planning and planning and planning, but they've established in many cases that, you know, just a few minutes before something happens, that if you're bound and determined to do something to somebody, then that's also premeditation. Now, I can't say that
They
he was
said
trying to kill him, though, you
in
know.
Texas, they say premeditation could be in 10 seconds, like the Carla Ray Tucker case. They put her to death.
Right.
Okay. A woman. Premeditation can be within 10 seconds. It doesn't mean that you've been sitting there cutting up magazines for 6 months,
Right.
over one person.
Exactly. And maybe he did not mean to kill him, but guess what? He's dead.
It happened.
So when you drive a car drunk and you kill somebody, they're still dead. I'm sorry that you were drunk. You shouldn't have done it.
There you go. There you go.
And that all of this, his words and his acts were used to reasonably provoke this. So you need evidence that this is the reason he was doing it. And it can't be words alone. You have to do something else. And what prosecutors are saying here is the something else is the going under the tent, the bringing of the knife. All of that goes beyond just words in this case. Let's bring back in Cody Thomas, who's still with us. Cody, this testimony, how is it coming out? Are the words coming from the students themselves, the witnesses? Are prosecutors feeding them these magical words about provocation, etc.? What's going on inside that courtroom?
So the way it's been going, Benny, you know, as each witness gets up there, these are young kids. Some of them are still in high school. The prosecutor warms them up with, you know, normal questions. You play football. You're still in school. You're going to graduate. You know, all of that. Then they get into, of course, the horrendous events of that day. And they're walking through. They give their accounts. And then eventually the prosecutor has been ending pretty much all of his questioning, whether that be under direct or with some of these students, as he's under the defense's students, witnesses, under his cross-examination, he'll just ask them, who was the instigator here? Who would you say was the aggressor? Carmelo. Who was in the wrong? Carmelo. You know, things of that nature. You would say that Carmelo's the one. So I guess to your point, Vinny, they are saying that word. Are you familiar with provocation? Yes, sir. Would you say Carmelo was provoking Austin Metcalf? So yes, it's kind of being fed in that way, but the defense is not putting up any objections here because, I mean, it's just a clear-cut question. Do you understand provocation? Yes, sir. Who would you say was the?
Okay, let's talk about this. Just me said it. Duck Lady's saying it. I've seen several people say it. Hate is taught.
Exactly.
And hate is generational, and a lot of it is fed to us by, I hate to tell you, the media.
Mm-hmm.
You see something bad that happens, and you're like, ugh.
Right. Nobody's born that way. It is something that's taught.
I mean, the disgust goes towards the crime and the situation, not a color of people. That's insane. This is not Jim Crow.
Mm-mm.
The provoker here, Carmelo. And that's just how he's ended it with 5 to 7 questions each time one of these students wraps up their testimony.
So give us an idea, because one of the things that the defense talked about was the fact that, okay, all these kids are from the same high school, you know, they're friends and teammates of the victim in the case. Is there anything coming out that would indicate or potentially make a juror think that these kids are colluding together, that they're shading their testimony to help their teammate and their friend who was stabbed to death that day? Is any of that making its way into the cross-examination of these important witnesses?
Not that has been spoken upon thus far in this trial, Vinny. I mean, these witnesses get up there and testify. Of course, some were teammates. Some just knew the Metcalf boys. Some were, you know, their older brothers might have known them, things of that nature. There's been a couple of them. There was one kid who testified on Saturday who was a soccer player, saying he didn't know either party. He did not know Carmelo. He didn't know Austin. He was just there about to run the 800 race because, you know, soccer players have, you know, height and endurance, so they're running those distance races. He even talked about him just being kind of under the tent to himself. This was the first meet that he went to because soccer season and track season kind of overlap. So he was there just chilling out, didn't know anybody, and turned around and this was going on. So we've had 2 or 3 witnesses like that. We've had a couple of witnesses from an opposing school who, you know, were 20 feet away that might have known some people under the memorial tent, but nothing that seems as if from the memorial students that have testified so far as if, you know, we're all ganging up, because not everybody was on the team with these boys. Well, there was one that was a freshman who said that he knew them because his older brother played football with them on the team. So he just kind of knew them that way, you know, just kind of in passing. Like I was aware of who they were, but I happened to be at this track meet that they were at, but it's not like we had this strong personal connection. So from what I've heard so far, no, the defense hasn't brought it up in any cross-examination. The defense hasn't brought it up in any capacity that there's any collusion happening or any, you know, conspiring to be in favor of the victim here. It's all, to me, just coming out fact by fact, account by account.
And I'll tell you, folks, that is not good news for this defendant. I mean, this is very consistent. The provocation is what this case is about for prosecutors. You prove that Carmelo Anthony is the one who provoked all of this, and then self-defense just goes away. So this is a tough case for the defense. Make no mistake. I get it. Prosecutors have the burden of proof. They have to disprove self-defense, right? You're proving a negative. That's always a challenge. But the way the testimony is being described and the testimony that's coming in, this is a strong prosecution case that is being built. So what is the defense going to focus on here? I think where the defense really has to focus is in the beginning. Like, why is he under the tent to begin with, right? Because if you talk about why he's under the tent, if he's not under the tent to pick a fight, if he's under the tent for another reason, maybe a juror thinks, well, okay, well, he wasn't there to provoke anything. You know, things happened, I get it, but he didn't go to the tent to provoke a fight so he could hurt someone. And that's kind of what prosecutors are alleging here, right? Because he brought the knife with him. Why do you bring a knife to a track meet? I want to bring back Cody. Cody, for the defense, we see it in every trial. You're dealt a hand and you got to deal with it. But it seems that the strongest facts.
Okay, here's the problem. Since they're waiting on the verdict, okay, we already know what happened. We've heard, well, bits and pieces. We didn't watch the trial, and I agree with that. Protect the jury, protect the kids. A lot of minors had to testify. Okay, there was one kid that was 15 at the time, now 16. Don't do that. Okay.
Yeah.
They had to increase law enforcement, and the National Guard is on standby just in case people get upset. And they might, they might get upset.
Right.
There's a few people outside right now, and they're not happy. The sheriff is out there.
Heavy police presence at this courthouse.
What press are you with?
JLR investigates. I'm on YouTube.
Oh, you're on YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay, and you're out here in support of what?
I'm
just
right
here
in the middle.
independent.
I'm right here. I want to hear what everyone has to say.
And that's what I'm doing
You
here.
want to talk?
Sure, let's
Sure.
talk.
What's your name? What's
My
going on?
name is Dorothy Patterson. I go by the reality coach. The
Hi.
reason, let me get
It's going in the shade. I know. What's up with the? Woo, it gets hot, but it's
Yeah.
cool in the shade.
Yeah, everybody was wondering why I wasn't out here. And the reason why I wasn't out here, because I don't know the details or the facts of the case, but I do know that the judiciary system here in Dallas and surrounding counties is flawed and it makes mistakes. I can't speak in this case because I don't know the truth, but I do know the truth in another case, and this is why people will reach.
I love her sunglasses. Okay.
Yep.
I love her sunglasses. And it's hot as hell outside of Tulsa right now.
I bet.
We have some heated trials going on right now. If you think I'm going to be out there talking to JLR, you're crazy. It is hot. My flip-flops would bond with the sidewalk. This girl's got it going on.
Now to me, why aren't you out there? Don't you have a case involving your sons? And what I'm trying to get people to understand, when it's a black-white issue of a black murdering a white or vice versa, white murdering a black, it should not be sides against each other saying one is right, one is wrong. It should be what really happened, what is the law, and what needs to be done to make the judiciary system look.
The law is the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not murder. You don't kill people. You don't say I'm looking for trouble and you go to a tent because it's raining and you're told to leave by many people. You can't be here. You can't be here. Our coach is right down there. You can't be here. Touch me, see what happens. Right hand goes into the backpack. Austin shoves him in the left shoulder. Some call it a poke, some call it a shove, whatever. He pulls out a knife and he yields it right into his chest and kills him. He was running around trying to live with the damn knife still stuck in his chest.
Right.
Does that sound like self-defense?
It sounds horrific.
It certainly does. Now, as a trauma nurse, and I know you have been back in the day, exactly how would you handle a situation like this? Would there be any chance saving him? Because their response time getting Austin to the hospital was 12 minutes and he had died on scene.
No. And the reason is because of the, well, first of all, when people think of a knife, they think of an in and out cut type thing, like a laceration would maybe be showing on the outside of the body. But it wasn't a laceration. Something was done with a knife because it was a gaping hole, they said. And because of the area where the knife went, right there on your sternum, the sternum being the chest bone, where we all learn how to put our hands when we're doing CPR. That's where the knife went right through that and cut some of the major arterial vessels that go to and around the heart. And so he basically bled out. There was no way to stop how much blood, that was coming out. He basically bled out.
Okay, obviously I'm not Daisy, so and she's not here, so I'm asking you. How can someone bleed out internally and externally? Is it because a certain chamber of the heart was hit?
Correct. It could have been part of the heart and part of a major blood vessel in the heart or around the heart. Okay? If you put your hands on your sternum and then you move it over a little bit, like on your breast, your heart is laying right there, and the back of the heart is actually in the front. So there's a lot of vascular issues there. There's the pulmonary artery, there's superior vena cava, inferior vena cava, which is like the main blood vessel of the body that takes the oxygenated and the deoxygenated blood around and back. And so when you hit one of those major vessels right there, unless they could actually open him up and do surgery and transfuse him on spot, I mean, there's just no way. Like an arterial bleed, for example, will squirt with pressure versus a vein being cut. It'll just leak out. Okay.
Ugh,
Does that make any sense?
it does. It makes perfect sense.
Okay.
Oh, gosh. Poor kid.
fair, and unbiased. Unfortunate with all of the coverage, it's really, really difficult. And I feel bad for both mothers. And the reason why I feel bad for both mothers is because, let me take these shades off so y'all can see and hear the truth now. I can relate from both sides. My son was murdered in 2017 by a black boy who was on probation for 5 years. Black said nothing, white said nothing. Black on black, it seems to be all right. But my other son, not even 2 years later, I couldn't even mourn the death of my youngest son well, because my other son was placed all over the news by Dallas County, Fox 4 as usual, saying he was evading arrest in a parking garage. Come to find out, they later charged him with 3 counts of essay, which, I don't want to say it. I don't know if you can say it on your...
We say essay.
Okay, essay, and then 1 count of robbery and 1 count of evading arrest. This child has never been in trouble with the law. He graduated Commerce, Texas A&M cum laude.
Okay, beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that in 2017, black on black crime, it did not get news coverage. The guy was out on probation and he was not being monitored. That is a problem, and it pisses me off to no end. Okay, you're on probation for a reason. Big Brother is watching for a reason. Now, your other son that got 3 charges of sexual abuse, robbery, and something else, he's up shit creek without a paddle.
And was given a life sentence using fake DNA. The DNA that excluded him, Dallas County left it out. You can see where they clearly doctored the photos. It's just horrible. So when they're saying to me that Carmelo Anthony's photos were doctored, I can relate to that. I can't relate to his, but I can understand that it's a possibility because I'm living that nightmare. And then I'm also living the nightmare of the mother. Here it is, your son is murdered, and you got people out here saying, oh, well, he shouldn't have been doing this, he shouldn't have been doing that. People, can you please just have a little sympathy for the mothers? It's hard. I know what it is to have a son murdered, and I don't want to start getting emotional. And I know what it is to be told by black people he shouldn't have been messing with them white girls, but he's given a life sentence wrongfully. And then I know what it's like to have black people ignore the fact that my other son was murdered. And his murderer was given a 5-year plea deal. I get a text message from, matter of fact, I had to leave the 2019 trial for a moment to go to the murder trial of my son to hear that he's getting a 5-year plea deal. And people, in case you don't know what a plea deal is, it's really, in most cases, where they really don't have a case, you just go ahead and settle for the case because you know you got some worse, some more problematic criminal charges somewhere else.
Okay. She needs to go to law school. She's effing good.
Mm-hmm. And I'm really sorry all those things happened. That's horrible. But
Mhm.
I mean, am I being too weird to say that people's experiences and stuff in the past, as I said before, are bringing to this situation and somehow justifying it? I'm not saying she's doing it, but
I need to meet this woman. She's amazing. I'm a big fan of Stephen A. Smith. Okay.
Mhm.
Everybody knows I'm a huge sports follower. And also I like how he's unbiased about politics. All right.
right.
He has made it so clear about this, not about this case in particular, just things in general. In 2026, it's not about race with the justice system. It's about poverty.
Right.
And I was like, is he out of his mind? What is he talking about? And he started breaking it down, and it made absolute sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
However, Carmelo had a switchblade knife
Mm-hmm.
and stuck it into Austin's heart because he got pushed in the shoulder, shoved, poked.
I mean, back in the day, stuff like this never used to happen. I mean, I don't know. When I grew up, the worst thing that ever happened at high school was somebody would yell, "Fight, fight," and it would be like a physical fist fight. I mean, people didn't bring weapons to school for the purpose of this. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's like you don't bring a knife to a gunfight,
No, you don't. And it's not uncommon in the South for people to carry a knife, but to a track meet makes no sense.
Right.
And then you have the precursor, which is Carmelo saying, I'm just going to go look for trouble. So he walks to someone else's tent. They had already been told, you don't go into someone else's locker room. You don't go into someone's tent when it's a track meet.
Well, I'm pretty sure it came out in trial that he had been asked about 15 times to leave before the actual event occurred.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you?
Right. I'm looking at the poll right now. How would you vote if you were on the jury? 89% you said guilty, 6% said not guilty, and 4% said you would vote for a mistrial. Now that's interesting. Thank you.
Or they, whatever the case may be. But it's generally that they really don't have concrete evidence because they held my other son in Dallas County Jail for 3 years before they took him to trial. It happened nothing like this trial, but because of the publicity. And then when the trial came for my son, everybody was on the one that was accused of being the uptown serial rapist. When it came for the trial, everybody that came to my house, I was begging them, come do the interview. The trial is starting today. It's public and high profile as it was. The media didn't come. And I was in the courtroom and they didn't know I was media. And so I waited for Fox 4 cameraman to ask if media could be in the courtroom. The judge said yes. But I, being in the media, know if there's a cameraman and there's no reporter, more than likely, if that camera's not panning the courtroom, it's not going to come on once the trial starts because there's no one to do the reporting. So he said yes. So I told my camera crew to get up and turn the cameras on. I go out to take an important phone call. I come back in. My camera crew was told that they only wanted one camera in the courtroom. It was horrible. I've never seen I've never seen injustice,
And that happens. Unfortunately, the media is all about ratings. Okay. For them, like she keeps bringing up Fox 4 Dallas. Okay. It's about ratings. People on YouTube, like yours truly, get hell all the time about clicks and views. You're just here for clicks and views. Let me tell you what, the real fucking monsters are the legacy media and the mainstream media, and they have all the tools in the Craftsman toolbox, and I mean a big one. I'm talking something that has been inherited from your great, great, great granddaddy.
Mhm.
And they pull them out and they know exactly how to get people worked up. They know exactly how to do it.
Mhm.
Well, I think it's going to be really interesting. I know the jury is deliberating. I'm surprised it's taken this long considering what we've been talking about.
Mhm.
So I guess we'll see how it plays out. I don't know.
Yeah. And then what happens? I'm kind of worried about that.
Then what happens? Benny can go out there and cover the riots. I don't know. JLR can do it. I
Mhm.
pay attention to that mess.
Mhm. Right. Mm. That's the last thing you need is JLR to show up in an already, tense situation. Oh
Dolly
my God.
and PJ can leave Mexico and go up there and cover it. Oh my gosh, no. So when it comes down to it, God already knows what's going to happen. He already has a plan.
Right.
And that's what we have to have faith in. I do feel very bad for this woman that her son's a serial rapist and her other son was murdered. That's a lot of tragedy in one family.
Right. It is.
That's a lot of tragedy in one family. So, whew. So are you guys up for another show in an hour and a half? Because I'm not going outside in this heat.
Oh, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Were you planning on, like when they say the verdict's in, the verdict's in? Well, actually, we can't watch it. Never mind.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I forgot about that. Yep, they won't be streaming the verdict. I'll just have to post it and we'll do a show. And
Okay.
we'll see the aftermath. Well, you all are the best. And I'm sitting here waiting on my birthday present from Ann.
Yes, ma'am. It'll be there anytime today. Keeping track of it. Thanks for letting me come up.
Any time you want, you know better than that, especially since you're sending me a birthday present today. I'm sitting in the waiting room with my headphones on, listening to you, and a kid, hopefully not mine, is yelling in the back. Those shots hurt.
Yeah.
Those shots hurt. They do.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
They do. I would rather, I always tell them to give me the gas, then do the shots. I don't care if I'm getting my teeth cleaned. I'm like, give me the gas and do what you need to do.
Yeah, I don't mind giving shots, but I don't particularly enjoy getting them myself.
Not in the mouth.
No.
No. Well,
No.
thank you very much to the Mod Squad. Even though I don't say it every day, I should. Everything you guys do is noticed and appreciated. And I know the last few months have been hardcore, okay? But you have handled it, and I feel like I haven't had your back. So I'm going to be sending out some gifts to you guys just in appreciation. The show we're going to be doing is going to be on Next Topic. So if you don't have that channel, it's called Next Topic with CLL. Can someone put it in here? Like anyone? Hang on, I'll find it. I'm being lazy. Well, I do.
Susan just did it.
All right. So grab this link and I will see you all in about an hour and a half. Okay? You guys are the absolute best. And hey, I'm just going to say, let justice prevail. How about that?
Amen.
Does that sound fair?
That sounds very fair.
Sounds very fair. All right. Love to you all. See you about in an hour and a half.
Bye, guys.
That gives me plenty of time to pee in between.